One employee at the Bojangles location in Palmetto sitting behind bars tonight. He's accused of killing a man in the restaurant's parking lot. Officers arrested Maurice Evans on Sunday at the store on Roosevelt Highway. Warrants say that he got into an argument with Dominique Goodman and then shot him multiple times.
Roosevelt Highway in Palmetto, Georgia, Sunday afternoon. A Bojangles restaurant. And in that parking lot, a father is about to die for doing what fathers are supposed to do. Dominique Goodman didn't know that when his daughter called him, scared and upset about a workplace dispute, that he was driving into a confrontation that would end with him bleeding out on the pavement. He didn't know that Maurice Evans was waiting for him, gun ready, mind made up. When the clock strikes midnight, the truth comes out. I'm 12 a.m. crime, and every single day I bring you real cases of domestic violence that turn deadly. The stories the system tried to bury, the victims who deserve justice. If you're about that raw, unfiltered truth, hit subscribe. New case drops every day at midnight. Don't sleep on justice. This is 12 a.m. crime. Let's talk about Dominique Goodman for a minute. This wasn't some deadbeat. This wasn't some absent father who only shows up when it's convenient. Dominique worked at Honda South in Morrow, Georgia, about 20 miles west of where this whole thing went down. And he wasn't just clocking in and out either. The man was their top salesman. His coworkers said it themselves. He was good at what he did. He showed up. He put in the work. But more than that, he was a father, a real one. The kind that his kids could call when things got rough, the kind that didn't send them to voicemail when they needed him. And he had children, multiple children. His teenage daughter, she was one of them. And like a lot of teenagers trying to make their own money, trying to be independent, she got herself a job at Bojangles, the one right there on Roosevelt Highway in Palmetto. Now, Maurice Evans, 25 years old, from Forest Park, he worked at that same Bojangles, same location, same shifts probably. We don't know much about what kind of employee he was. We don't know if he was a good worker or a problem. What we do know is that on this particular Sunday, him and Goodman's daughter, they had a problem. They got into it. An argument. The kind of workplace beef that happens everywhere, every day. Somebody said something. Somebody didn't like how something was handled. Maybe it was about work. Maybe it was personal. The sources don't give us all the details on what started it, but here's what we do know. It got heated enough that this teenage girl felt like she needed backup. She needed her father. So she picked up that phone and she called Dominique. Now picture this. You're at work, you're doing your thing, and your phone rings. It's your daughter, and you can hear it in her voice, can't you? That tremble, that frustration, that fear maybe. She tells you she's having problems with her manager, with her coworker. Someone at the job is giving her trouble. What are you going to do? You going to tell her to handle it herself? You going to say, "Baby, I'm busy, figure it out"? No, not if you're Dominique Goodman. You drop what you're doing and you go. That's what fathers do. That's what protection looks like. Marlene lately, she's Goodman's relative, his in-law. She talked to the news after everything happened, and she laid it out plain. She said,
I guess her and the manager might have got into it or something like that. So she called her dad, which any child would do. And the dad came up there to see about his daughter.
Think about that. It's the most natural thing in the world. You got a problem, you call your people, you call your family. And if your family is solid, they come. No questions asked. So Dominique gets in his car. He leaves work. He drives from Morrow to Palmetto, 20 miles. He's probably thinking about what he's going to say when he gets there. Probably thinking about how he's going to handle this manager or coworker or whoever is giving his baby girl a hard time. He's probably calm, focused. This is his child. He's not about to let somebody disrespect her at her job. But here's the thing. While Dominique is driving, while he's making his way down Roosevelt Highway, Maurice Evans is already outside. He's not in the kitchen. He's not behind the counter. He's in the parking lot, waiting. And according to what the family heard, according to what witnesses would later tell police, Evans knew Goodman was coming. He was ready for him. Make it make sense. You got a problem with somebody's daughter at work, and instead of handling it like adults, instead of letting management deal with it, instead of just clocking out and going home, you're standing in a parking lot waiting for her father to pull up. With a gun? Dominique pulls into that Bojangles parking lot around 1:15 in the afternoon. Broad daylight, middle of the day. People are inside eating. Cars are going by on Roosevelt Highway. This is not some dark alley. This is not some hidden spot. This is a public place, a Sunday afternoon, and Maurice Evans approaches him. Now, witnesses said these two men got into a fight, a physical altercation right there in the parking lot. We don't know who swung first. We don't know what words were exchanged, but fists were thrown, bodies were moving. And then, in the middle of that fight, Maurice Evans made a choice. He pulled out a handgun. Crime. Maurice Evans pulled out a handgun in that parking lot, and he shot Dominique Goodman, not once, multiple times. The warrants would later confirm it. Multiple gunshots, in broad daylight, in front of a restaurant where people were eating Sunday lunch. Think about what that means for a second. This wasn't a quick decision. This wasn't one panicked shot. This was deliberate. Boom, boom, boom. However many times Evans pulled that trigger, each one was a choice. Each one was a moment where he could have stopped, where he could have put the gun down, where he could have walked away. But he didn't. Dominique Goodman dropped right there, in that parking lot, on the pavement. His family would later have to see him like that. Marlene, lately, the relative who rushed to the scene, she'd never forget it. She told the news. Now he's laying there on the ground, and his family seeing him. You know, it's sad. That's sad. Laying there on the ground. A father who woke up that morning, went to work, lived his regular Sunday, and then got a phone call from his daughter. A father who did what he was supposed to do, and now he's dead in a Bojangles parking lot. The people inside the restaurant heard the shots. People driving by on Roosevelt Highway saw what happened. Witnesses were everywhere. This wasn't some mystery. This wasn't some whodunit case where detectives had to piece together what went down. Everybody saw it. Everybody knew. And Maurice Evans, he didn't run. He didn't jump in a car and peel out. He didn't try to disappear into the surrounding neighborhoods. No, when those shots stopped echoing, when Dominique Goodman's body hit that pavement, Maurice Evans stayed right there, at the scene, gun still on him. So what? You shoot a man multiple times and then just wait around? Make it make sense. The call came into Palmetto police around 1:15 that afternoon. Shots fired at the Bojangles on Roosevelt Highway. Officers responded immediately. When they arrived, they found exactly what witnesses had described. Dominique Goodman, 40-something years old, father, top salesman, lying dead in the parking lot. And Maurice Evans was still there. Police secured the scene fast. They blocked off that entire parking lot. Yellow tape went up. Squad cars surrounded the area. For more than 4 hours, investigators worked that scene, going in and out of the restaurant, talking to employees, talking to witnesses, taking statements, collecting evidence. The Bojangles shut down for the day. Couldn't keep serving chicken and biscuits with a dead body outside and police everywhere. Maurice Evans didn't make the detectives work hard. He didn't lawyer up immediately. He didn't stay silent. According to the arrest warrant, Evans admitted to killing Dominique Goodman right there. No dancing around it. No, I don't know what you're talking about. He told police he did it. Now let's be clear, that confession doesn't tell us everything. It doesn't tell us why. It doesn't tell us what was going through his head when he decided to bring a gun to work. It doesn't tell us how long he'd been carrying that weapon, or if this was premeditated, or if it was heat of the moment. But what it does tell us is that Maurice Evans knew exactly what he'd done. And he wasn't trying to deny it. The police had their shooter. They had their victim. They had witnesses. They had the weapon, open and shut. But while detectives were processing that scene, while they were bagging evidence and taking photographs and documenting every detail, Dominique Goodman's family was getting the worst news of their lives. Marlene lately got a phone call. She said,
"My son called me and I didn't hesitate, jumped up and got ready and came out here."
She rushed to that Bojangles, and when she got there, she saw her family member laid out on the ground, dead, gone, over an argument at a fast food restaurant. She stood there, watching the police work, watching them cover Dominique's body, watching them treat her family member like evidence. And she told reporters what so many people in our community have said after losing someone to gun violence.
Telling everybody, put down these guns, start thinking, use common sense. Common sense is left. Use common sense. Think before you do something stupid that's going to end your life. His life is gone and your life is gone. It's sad. It's just sad.
His life is gone and your life is gone. Because that's the reality, isn't it? Maurice Evans didn't just take Dominique Goodman's life that day. He threw his own away too. 25 years old, his whole life ahead of him, and now he's facing murder charges because he couldn't control himself, because he couldn't walk away, because he decided a workplace argument was worth killing somebody's father over. The family had to identify the body. They had to call relatives. They had to tell Dominique's children that their father wasn't coming home. His daughter, the one who called him, the one who just wanted her dad's help with a problem at work, she had to live with the knowledge that her phone call led to this. That's a weight she'll carry forever. That's trauma that doesn't just go away. And it was almost Christmas. Marlene said it herself. It's terrible. I mean, because here come Christmas, they waiting. You know, he probably got everything ready for them. And now you got to spend the holidays without your dad and their cousin and brothers. Presents already bought. Plans already made. And now, instead of opening gifts and eating dinner together, this family was planning a funeral. Instead of Christmas music, there would be hymns. Instead of celebration, there would be grief. The investigation wrapped up quickly because there wasn't much to investigate. They had everything they needed. Maurice Evans, the gun, the admission, the witnesses, the body. By the time the sun set on that Sunday evening, detectives knew exactly what happened and who was responsible. All that was left was the paperwork and the charges.
Minutes developing tonight. Palmetto police have now identified the Bojangles employee accused of opening fire and killing a man in the parking lot. His name is Maurice Evans of Forest Park. So Evans is now charged with murder after a shooting this afternoon at the restaurant on Roosevelt Highway. 11 Alive's Galat Malame spoke with the victim's family about what led up to this shooting.
Police say this shooting began with an altercation, and relatives I spoke to say that man was coming here just to try and help his daughter.
This is a sad situation, just sad. So I just hope justice be served.
Family mourning the loss of Dominique Goodman. They say he was shot and killed in this Bojangles parking lot Sunday afternoon. His relative, Marlene Lately, rushed to the restaurant on Roosevelt Highway.
My son called me, and I didn't hesitate, jumped up and got ready and came out here.
She says Goodman came to the restaurant because his teenage daughter, who works there, called him asking for help.
I guess her and the manager might have got into it or something like that, so she called her dad, which any child would do. And the dad came up there to see about his daughter.
Lately says when Goodman arrived, the manager was waiting for him in the parking lot.
Now he's laying there on the ground and his family seeing him. You know, it's sad. That's sad.
Palmetto police say they believe a Bojangles employee fired the shots and is now in custody. Officers responded to the shooting around 1:15 p.m., blocking off the area for more than 4 hours. A representative for Bojangles tells 11 Alive News its hearts go out to the victim and all those impacted, writing in part, "The safety of our guests and team members is always our top priority. The franchisee is fully cooperating with local law enforcement as they conduct their investigation." Lately, pleading for an end to the violence.
I'm just telling everybody, put down these guns, start thinking.
That now has her family planning a funeral this holiday season.
It's terrible. I mean, because here come Christmas, they wait, you know, he probably got everything ready for him. And now you got to spend the holidays without your dad and their cousin and brothers.
This is an ongoing investigation, and police are asking any witnesses to reach out to them. In Palmetto, Gilad Mohammed, 11 Alive News.
Maurice Evans was arrested at the scene. No chase, no manhunt, just handcuffs and a ride to the station. He was booked into custody and charged with murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a weapon during the commission of a felony. 3 charges that added up to the rest of his life behind bars if convicted. His first court appearance happened the very next morning, Monday morning, less than 24 hours after he killed Dominique Goodman. He stood before a judge, heard the charges against him, and was denied bond. The legal process had begun, but for the Goodman family, no amount of court proceedings would bring Dominique back. So let's talk about what this case really represents, because it's bigger than just one shooting in one parking lot in Palmetto, Georgia. This is about workplace disputes that spiral out of control. This is about people carrying guns when they shouldn't. This is about ego and pride and the inability to walk away from confrontation. This is about a father who did exactly what society tells fathers to do: protect your children, show up when they need you, be present, and it got him killed. Dominique Goodman's co-workers at Honda South had to process the fact that their top salesman, the man they saw just hours before, was never coming back to work. His children had to process the fact that their father, the man who dropped everything to help his daughter, was gone forever. His daughter had to process the guilt, the what-ifs, the reality that calling her dad for help ended with him dead. And for what? An argument. A workplace disagreement that could have been handled 1,000 different ways. Maurice Evans could have clocked out and gone home. He could have let management handle it. He could have talked it out like an adult. He could have done literally anything except bring a gun into the equation. But he didn't. He chose violence. He chose to end a man's life over something so small, so insignificant in the grand scheme of things, that it's almost impossible to comprehend. Because Maurice Evans destroyed 2 lives that day. He took one, and he threw away his own. At 25 years old, whatever future he thought he had, whatever dreams or goals or plans he might have made, they're gone now, replaced with a prison cell and a murder conviction. With investigations doesn't change the fact that one of their employees murdered someone in their parking lot. Moving on, let's be real about what this case teaches us. It teaches us that conflict resolution is a life skill that too many people don't have. It teaches us that guns don't make situations better, they make them deadly. It teaches us that workplaces need better protocols for handling disputes before they escalate to violence. It teaches us that being a protective parent, something we celebrate and encourage in our community, can put you in harm's way. But most importantly, it teaches us what Marlene lately was trying to say when she pleaded with people to put down the guns and think before acting. Common sense, that's what she asked for. Common sense, the ability to pause before you make a decision that can't be undone. The ability to recognize that no argument, no disrespect, no workplace beef is worth taking someone's life over. Dominique Goodman was described by everyone who knew him as a devoted father, a good man, a hard worker, top salesman at his job, the kind of man who shows up for his kids. And he died doing exactly that, showing up. There's no happy ending here. There's no silver lining. There's just a family in pain, a community mourning, and another statistic added to the ever-growing list of gun violence victims in America. Another black man gone too soon. Another father who won't see his children grow up. Another life cut short over something that didn't have to end this way. So when you hear about workplace shootings, when you hear about arguments turning deadly, when you hear about fathers being killed while trying to protect their children, remember Dominique Goodman. Remember that behind every news headline is a real person. A person with a family, a person with a job, a person with dreams and responsibilities, and people who loved them. Remember that Maurice Evans made a choice that day, a choice that took a life and destroyed multiple families, a choice that can never be undone. And remember what Marlene lately said. Put down these guns, start thinking, use common sense, because the next phone call could be about someone you love. The next parking lot could be where your father, your brother, your son takes their last breath. The next workplace argument could be the one that ends in tragedy. Dominique Goodman went to protect his daughter. He did what fathers do, and he paid for it with his life. That's the story. That's the reality. That's 12 a.m. crimes. If this story hit you, leave a comment below. Share your thoughts. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message about putting down the guns and choosing life over ego, share this video with them. Subscribe to 12 a.m. Crimes for more stories that need to be told. Stories about real people, real families, real consequences. I'll see you in the next one.